Well, welcome back to the podcast to Meet Your Elders, where we sit down and have a conversation with each member of our elder team. And so we're glad you're joining us. And as usual, before we get started on our interview, we'll start where we normally do with the description of the role of an elder here at CFC. So Doug, that's your part.
All right. So elder at CFC is really rooted in our core conviction of the headship of Jesus. So Jesus is the chief elder, the leader at Christian Family Chapel, and then men who are biblically qualified according to the scriptures, 1 Timothy 3, Titus 1, and who aspire, believe that the Holy Spirit has set them apart for the work, and who are available to have the minutes and the energy to be able to do it, serve as under shepherds to the chief shepherds. So it's the beauty of how God has put his church together so that there is no single man who's intended to be the leader of a particular church except for the man Jesus Christ. So we're excited to have
our newest elder, which, by the way, in a previous podcast, we had named David Hodges as the newest elder, but that title no longer stands with David. It now goes to Mr. Keith Schissler. Welcome.
Well, glad to be here. Thanks for the new title.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Newest and most handsome elder. Right?
Well, like they
There
say,
we go.
it's for radio, right? All right.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Well, tell us a little bit about your family.
Sure. So I am married to Jeannette. We've been married for a little over 22 years. And we have 6 kids. They range in age from our youngest being 12 to our oldest being 21.
Got a range there of kiddos. So how did you and Jeannette meet?
Do you want my side of the story or her side of the
Oh,
story?
interesting.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely tell this story from my perspective. So we met in pharmacy school. Actually, I was a year ahead of her. So on the first day of the second year, we went to go obviously introduce ourselves to the new class that was upcoming and arriving on campus. And so, the first moment I saw her, I just thought she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And I'm not like this, but I actually nudged my buddy. I said, I'm going to marry that girl.
Really?
Yes. And
he
I
called
had never
it.
said that before. And,
That's probably a good thing.
Or done that before.
Yes. I still meet that qualification, Doug. And so, we went to classes for her most of that year, and then we began dating at the end of that year.
And her side is?
And her side is...
You knew we were going to ask. Come on.
We have to hear the second side.
She states that I was the pursuer, but I think she was actually the one who asked me out first. And we're going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say, you see me wanting to ask another question, but you don't want me to ask another one.
So how did you and Jeannette and your family end up here at Christian Family Chapel?
Yeah, great story. We moved to Jacksonville 17 years ago, and when we moved here, we were renting a home over on the west side. We attended a small church over there, and as we were looking at different parts of town where we were going to move, we found a home here in the Mandarin area, and it just so happened my brother-in-law went to go buy some power tools from someone on Angie's list. They got to talking, and they figured out that they were both believers, and they started talking about where they went to church. And this was over in Fleming Island. And the person was like, yeah, I go to CFC over in that area. And so we came and checked it out that Sunday, and we've been here ever since.
Invitation by Angie's List.
Yes.
How about that?
Yep.
17 years ago.
Well, it was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
We actually moved over to this side of town and started coming.
Wow. So your family really has grown up here.
We really have. Our kids have had the benefit of going through all the different stages of children's ministry, middle school, high school. Jeannette and I have been able to, experience the love of Christ through many different ministries, counseling ministry, et cetera. So we really have grown up here as a family.
Right.
That's really fantastic. With your kids growing up here and involved in ministries, were there areas along the way that you jumped in to serve in those ministries as well?
Yes, absolutely. So I've had the privilege of serving in a number of different areas. Early in our journey here, I got the opportunity to be here on Wednesday nights for Pioneer Clubs with my son's class. And so a lot of those guys now are obviously graduated or in college,
Right.
Being 21. And I'll never forget coming home that first night, and I looked at Jeannette and I said, "That's not for me. That is not my ministry." And then, but after a few weeks had gone past, I could not see myself not being there. I just had to be there with those boys and pour into them. And I grew a lot myself just by being there and serving them.
Yeah.
What changed where you said, I have to be there with them?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing work of the Lord. As you serve, He instills and grows that love in you for the people that you're serving. And so I knew I had to be there. I knew I had to be there for those boys and continue to pour into them.
And now you're seeing them graduating.
I've seen them graduate. I see them, they have jobs or they're in school and, still give high fives in the courtyard. And it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're on family, the contested information is who asked who out first. So let me change the question. Who said, I love you first?
That was me. I said I love you first.
Do you remember the situation?
I don't remember the exact situation. No, sorry.
But you are certain that you said that first?
I said it first, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
We could get Jeanette's side for that part too.
That's right. Tell our listeners what you do professionally.
So professionally, I'm a hospital administrator.
Okay.
I started my career as a pharmacist and have continued to work in that realm, in the pharmacy realm. I work for Baptist Health, but also I take on different roles and within operations at one of our hospitals.
Okay. So when y'all married, did you think 6 kids?
Definitely thought kids, but not 6 kids.
Uh-huh.
So Jeannette is one of 4. I'm one of 3. And so we thought it was going to be 3 or 4. I did make a joke at one point in a pediatric office that we were going to have 6 kids. Again, I predicted it. But that actually wasn't the story. But, it really is, I think, important for our flock, our CFC members to know a little bit more of that story. We experienced difficulties with getting pregnant early in our journey as a married couple, experienced miscarriage. And, it was difficult, as most people experience. It was very difficult. And I questioned God. And it was definitely a difficult time. But He had a plan. And He made that evident to me pretty quickly. And not only did He have a plan, but He had a bigger and better plan. And so that really began our journey. We were already on a journey of seeking to become foster parents.
Okay.
And we were close to completion of that. But when this happened, we were introduced through my in-laws to some twins that were eligible for adoption. And had the original pregnancy, come to fruition, I'm not sure if I would have raised my hand to do that. But at the time, we met those twins and we just absolutely fell in love with them. And so we had a very smooth process for adoption. Not everyone has that story, but for us, it was really, really great. Within 6 months after them being our foster children, we adopted them. So we adopted them on a Friday, had a big Mother's Day celebration on Sunday, and then found out we were pregnant on Wednesday. And then we had that baby, and then another one was coming 9 months later. And so really a fantastic story of how God works, within a time period of having no children to 2.5 years later having 4 children in our home. Quite the explosion, but it was definitely a bigger and better plan that God had for us than what we had originally thought.
I have multiple situations where that has been the story. No ability to conceive, adoption, and as soon as adoption took place, then conception followed.
Yeah.
And interesting. Not sure what the Lord's up to with that, but that's a pretty, I don't want to say it's typical, but the Lord's worked in that way in multiple people's lives in my life. Pretty interesting. Awesome. Yeah. So you predicted you were going to marry her. You predicted 6 kids. You have any predictions for us today?
I don't have any predictions for us
Come on,
today.
man.
No.
Go for it.
It's only recorded.
This is your big moment.
The day of the Lord will come.
There we go. There you go. Well done. I like it. All right, so I think you're familiar with, Keith, this whole idea of snapshots. And so without belaboring it, it's a way just of looking at our story and and realizing maybe not at the moment, but in the rearview mirror that, wow, that was a memorable moment for whatever reason. These moments where stick out in my mind of who was there, where I was, what happened. And so as you think about your own journey, whether it's be as a husband, a father, a businessman, your walk with Jesus, any of those, any snapshots that come to your mind that you go, for whatever reason, these are important memories in my life.
Yeah, a number of them. One I alluded to already when we met the twins, that day when I held Ileana for the first time, when I saw Isaiah's infectious smile, that is a snapshot I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely one that I would point out. I think two other ones that I would point out quickly are interactions that happened with my parents, and I think it helps to illustrate the type of people that they were. Never forget, in fifth grade, I had actually gotten the same teacher in fifth grade that I had in fourth grade, and she was picking up on something that had changed in me. I was not as engaged in schoolwork and projects, and she informed my mom, and my mom, who was an elementary school phys ed teacher, invited me to her school on a teacher work day and said, "Hey, why don't you come with me? You can help out." And she took me to lunch that day, and that was like a big deal for me, for me to have one-on-one time with my mom at a lunch, because I was one of three. Very special, but I will never forget a moment, a conversation. We were sitting at a stoplight, and she was talking to me about unconditional love. And the conversation was generally about, I love you no matter what. Someday you'll understand this concept of unconditional love. It may not happen until you have children, but she said it'll also help you understand how much God loves you. And so that was something that I'll just never forget. It definitely planted a seed in me. I wasn't saved then, but it definitely planted a seed.
That was fifth grade.
Fifth grade, yes, at a stoplight.
Yeah, it's just amazing what the Lord imprints in our memory.
That's right. Yeah.
Your mom was a follower of Jesus?
My mother was a follower of Jesus.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, she went home to be with the Lord about 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, Mom's awesome. And then second one was real quick. My dad was a great father, is a great father, was always there for me, helped me pursue my dreams. 12 years old, I played competitive soccer. We traveled. This was down in South Florida, but we went to a soccer tournament out in Pikes Peak, Colorado. And through a number of different events, we ended up reaching the finals. But it was a year where I had decided that I no longer wanted to play any other sports. I wanted to focus on soccer. And so he was devastated because he was a big baseball guy and really loved me playing baseball. But despite that, not knowing anything about soccer, he wanted to be an assistant coach and be on the sideline with me. And when the ref blew the final whistle and we won 2-0, I just ran over to him and jumped into his arms. And wow, I get a little choked up.
Yeah,
it was an awesome moment. That illustrated who he was as a father. He was always present, always cheering me on. So yeah, great moment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When you think about the things that your father was to you, what comes to your mind in terms of here's what I want to repeat?
Yeah, I think, when I think about him and everything he has and still does for me, we talk about, and I've heard you talk about, quantity time and quality time. And sometimes you get that quality time through being there with quantity time. Right. And, a number of things that he taught me. He taught me how to work hard. You wake up every morning and you go to work and you provide for your family. So that's something that I would want to instill into my children. And you got to be present with your children. You got to be there to pour into them and show them the way. And the Bible speaks very clearly about that. Sure. And so I think he did that for me. He helped me learn how to work hard and be there for my kids. And that's the father that I want to emulate.
Yeah. A guy named Howard Hendricks used to say, you can impress people from a distance, but you can only impact them up close. That's kind of the dad role at its best, being up close, and that's where the impact happens. Maybe not very impressive, but it's impactful. So a family of 6 kids, so 8 of you, that's kind of a small congregation. How do you think parenting a family of 6 has prepared you for eldering?
Yeah, obviously it's the first mission field, right? So I think we've had a unique mixture of children in our home.
Well crafted, well
Thank
said.
you.
Well,
Thank
well
you.
said,
Thank
yes.
you. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, all my children are very different," and I believe that. I definitely believe that our children are all very different. They all respond differently.
Yeah.
And so some are more on the compliant side, some are on the less compliant side.
Yeah.
And so at times it's given me an opportunity to practice my Christ likeness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also given me great joy in seeing how they've grown, how they respond. And I think that then translates to the flock,
Mm-hmm.
right? The flock has many different members, and they all have different gifts, different talents. They'll have different responses. They have
Yeah.
different challenges. And so I think that that's how shepherding in my home has helped prepare me for this role.
This might feel a little weird, but I have a sense
I'm
that
not
you
going to
will.
tell you which one's my favorite one, Doug.
I have a sense that maybe you're prone to tears, and I can relate to that. Any sense where you got your tears from? Tracy's going, you ask terribly deep questions on
glad
the
I'm
spot.
not being asked that
That's
question.
right. I know. That's why I say it might be a.
It's as I think through that, just quickly off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I think that my father was always willing to show emotion.
Okay.
My mom was a little bit less emotional about in different circumstances, but yes, I find myself able to do that in front of folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any shame in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
After the ordination, actually on Sunday, we had some family over, and I began to pray, and just towards the middle of the prayer, I just got choked up because of the greatness of the Lord.
Yeah.
And so said a prayer at family night, at our family group that night. Same thing happened. There were some things I had written out and I was going through, and just I think hopefully people see that as vulnerability and someone being real.
Yeah. Because it's not something
Yeah.
you can, well, I guess some people can produce it, but it's not something you're trying to produce. It just kind of hits you and you're not always sure why. But I was just curious if you felt like that's from mom or dad, or if there's a particular thing that you've noticed that I feel like I always get choked up in this area of my life, or spiritually or family-wise relationship. If there's any connection that you've tried to evaluate over the years of, man, why do I get, because sometimes I cry and I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying.
Mm-hmm.
I just am.
Yeah, it does tend to happen in more spiritual situations, I would say. I think if you talk to some of my coworkers at work,
He would never cry.
he probably wouldn't cry.
I'm not surprised by that, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's situational as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's important that our congregation knows that our elders are men who will cry over spiritual things. Yeah. Any other snapshots you wanted to? I know Tracy's ready to jump in with a question, but just want to give you a last
Those are
option.
the big ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Well, if
Did I
another
tell
one
you
does
about the
come
day
in-
that I saw my wife for the first time? No.
Can't wait to ask Jeannette her version of all these
Yeah.
stories. So, fairly new role, jumping in as the elder role, but curious, at what point did you aspire to be an elder?
Yeah, when did I aspire? Another great story. So, about 3 years ago, kind of last second, I was invited to go on the high school retreat in February, Revive. And my calendar allowed it. It just happened to be the year where I had 4 kids that were all in high school at the same time.
Wow.
And it's probably one of the reasons why I was thought of as a potential adult who could go. So I went. It was an amazing experience. Again, I got to room with the freshman guys who are seniors now, and that was a great experience. And came home, and a few weeks later, got a call and was invited for a coffee for Sunday morning service with Tony Anderson and John Adams. And obviously I submitted and said, yes, I'll be there. And I told Jeannette about it. And she's like, what did you do? What happened, what happened on the retreat? I was like, I don't know. I thought the retreat went fantastic.
We brought everybody home.
I don't know what I did wrong. And so, anyway, so we met a few Sundays later. Unfortunately, Tony was sick and wasn't able to be there, but John Adams had talked to me that day and asked if I had ever considered that as a role that the Lord had me for. And I hadn't really considered it at that time, but at that moment, I really took some time to seek wisdom from other believers, folks who were important in my life, and really sought the Lord's guidance as to whether or not this was something that He wanted me to do. And so I went through an initial process. I wanted to look at the inventory, whether or not I was biblically qualified. Felt like I was. My wife also did that inventory. She graded me better than I graded myself, so that was definitely a great thing. And then felt the Lord tugging on my heart, saying, "Yes, I do. You should aspire to this, but right now I don't think you have the time. And I think it's important that you spend time with me, spend time in the Word, and spend time with my flock." And I said, "Okay, Lord, well, teach me how to love you more, how to love the flock more." And He said, again, spend time in my Word, spend time with me, spend time with my flock. And so, again, that was about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. And over those couple of years, I've listened to the Lord, and He has taught me how to love Him more and love His people more. And so, about 6 months ago, the topic came up again, and all those components that Doug talks about, the qualifications, the aspiration, and the time. And it was the right time this time.
Yeah, I had a breakfast with you at Metro Diner 3 years ago or so, and we talked through the availability issue, and then circled back 3 years later because our sense...
you asked me if you had scared me away. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that because I had wondered if I had scared you away, but I'm glad it was the Lord, not me.
Yes.
Now, as a dad of 6, I could very much feel the pressure would put on you, but my situation was eldering was almost a part of my job as well, and so for you to be doing what you're doing professionally and leading your family and taking on that level of responsibility at the church is a big question to answer, and obviously you did and we did as elders as well speak to Jeannette as frankly as possible, just to say, from your standpoint, Jeannette, as wife, are you really sure you think he's at a place where he can give the minutes necessary? So we talk a lot about the biblical qualifications, but availability is just a reality that we cannot ignore. So I'm grateful for how the Lord led you in that process. And I'm sure the 3 years of waiting was not wasted time at all.
Absolutely. It was a really good time.
During that time, is there anything particular you learned about the Lord that has been impactful for you?
Yeah, I watched Him work in many ways. I've already talked about how He continued to grow my own love for Him and for His people. We sat in a booth a couple of years ago. The first time I was an adult captain or adult leader for Puck.
Yeah.
And, I saw the Lord work that summer and in subsequent summers when I've done that again. I just saw this amazing unity that happened here on campus. amongst the middle schoolers and the high schoolers and the adults, all those students, and then what the Lord accomplished through them out in those front yards.
Yeah.
And I had seen some of my kids go through it. I had done some club hopping in my earlier days as I watched my children at their different homes.
Power up club hopping.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
There we go.
Power up club hopping.
But you may have done club hopping earlier days,
That's
but
a
that's not
different
real.
story.
Okay,
But
that's
not
right.
for this
Just wanted to
podcast,
clarify.
And then, but yeah, I really saw something special happen in those front yards, and so many different types of front yards. And so again, as Doug alluded to, that time was well spent, and I think I saw the Lord work in a lot of different ways in preparing my heart.
Yeah. I know that we learned something else about you during your serving in Puck, and that is that you have rhythm, that the man can dance. and I learned this because I'll leave the man unnamed, but I was told by one of our students that her father was serving as an adult leader as well, was standing beside you, and he doesn't dance and you dance, and she videoed the two just to give Dad a little bit of a hard time.
That's hilarious.
It was, yeah.
Let's find that video.
Well, we do have a picture of Keith as Aquaman as well. We might have to pull out and connect to this podcast if we possibly can. And
that would be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Also related to Power Up Club, superhero
That's exactly
theme.
right. That's good.
So he was all in. He was all in on that.
So, as you, final question, unless I think of something else awkward I want to ask you.
Oh, great.
The final question is, when you think about serving as an elder, as elders, we often try to speak as one voice. And so we'll talk about things in the room and then speak with one voice outside the room. So this is not you feeling the pressure to, I'm reflecting the heart or the mind or the opinion of all the elders in this question, but specific to Keith Schissler. If you were to say, oh man, Doug, if there is one thing that I would love to see God do in CFC or through CFC in the coming years, this would really make me dance. This would just really make me happy. It'd make this other guy dance.
Well, good dancing does take good choreography. So,
Okay.
So I think if I were to think of one thing, then it would be the preparation of young men for the role of husband and father. And so I had a great father to learn from, but didn't learn a lot spiritually from that aspect. And so, like many young couples, Jeannette and I did struggle as we first got married. And so that would be my hope, that this congregation is led so that young men are ready to be the husbands that they need to be to their wives, as Christ loved the church, and the husbands the fathers that they need to be to lead their children, lead their children well.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the future for the church to be healthy in the coming generations. We will need men to become godly husbands, godly fathers, for sure. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I could echo that one. I can't dance, but I can echo that one.
See a dance-off coming here.
No, you don't.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down with us to chat, answer questions, share tears, the whole gamut. Really appreciate it, Keith.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate being there.
Thanks for joining us for Meet Your Elders. Hope you have a good one.